and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast.
And then when I realized that I did not have an episode scheduled for last week, I decided not to stress myself out trying to record and edit and then end up putting out something that I wasn't happy with or end up not putting out anything at all because I was annoyed with editing. But I'm back this week and I'm super excited about today's episode on this show. So go ahead and get into it. So the title of this episode is What Type of Clutterbug Are You? And I just learned about the Clutterbug philosophy. So the other day I was talking to my cousin and I was just asking her why she's so disorganized. And she told me that she's not disorganized. She's just a chaotic organizer. And I'm like, ma'am, that sounds like you're disorganized to me. But after saying that, I started thinking, I was like, there's a type for everything. So there has to be like different types of organizers. So I headed over to my bestie Google and I typed in organizing styles. And the first thing that came up was the Clutterbug philosophy. And I was like, I never heard of this before. I mean, of course, I've heard of a clutterbug and I know what a clutterbug is. It's someone who keeps a lot of clutter around. But I had just never heard the term Clutterbug philosophy before. And I mean, don't judge me. I've never said that I knew everything about organizing. So cut me a little bit of slack here on this one, okay? But anyways, the Clutterbug philosophy was started by Cassandra or Cass Aassren. I really hope that I'm saying her name right. The last name is spelled Aarssen. So I really hope that I'm getting it right. But she's the one that came up with this philosophy. And when I was reading more about it, I actually saw a quote on her website. And the quote said, "You're not messy, you organize differently." And I just love that because I just honestly never thought about it like that everybody does have a different organizing style. So I apologize to my husband for all the times that I got upset with him because he didn't organize properly or what I thought was properly. There are 4 types of bugs. There's the butterfly, the bee, the cricket, and the ladybug. So before I decided to read about like each type and what they meant, I took the quiz and I'm going to link the quiz in the show notes in case any of you would like to take it and find out what your organizing style is. And I'll also link Cass's website in the episode as well for you all to take a look at that. It turns out that my organizing style is actually a bee. And once I read about the bee's organizing style, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely me. And so as I went on to read the others, I started kind of guessing about different people and what I thought that they would be. So I guess that my husband's organizing style was a ladybug. And I sent him the quiz and guess what? I was right. He's a ladybug. So then I sent it to my cousin and I was like, okay, you got to take this quiz. And I just knew that for sure she was going to be a butterfly. And guess what? She wasn't. I was so hurt. Like just so hurt. I was like, no, you're a butterfly. And she was like, well, I'm a mixture. I'm going to call myself a ladyfly butterbug. And I was like, no, ma'am, that's not an option. Like, I'm going to need you to decide, are you a ladybug or are you a butterfly? Which one resonates with you more? And she was like, ladybug. I was like, oh, okay, so you're just gonna disappoint me and make me be wrong here, but okay. So I sent it to my mother and I sent it to my sister-in-law and I sent it to another one of my cousins as well. So they all took I can't say they all took the quiz. I'm still waiting on my mom's results. I think that she may be a cricket. I'm not sure. I didn't even try to predict my sister-in-law's because after I got my other cousins wrong, I was just mad and I was like, I'm not making any more predictions. And then my other cousin who took it, she actually turned out to be a cricket and I didn't try to guess hers either. So y'all have to stay tuned to find out whether or not my mom is a cricket or if not. And if she's not, I'm going to be even more salty that I got it wrong again. So as I said today, I'm just going to dive a little bit into each of the types. I'm not going to go like deep into them because my hope is that I can get each bug to appear on an episode. And then when they appear, I'll go deeper into the philosophy about it. So my cousin is on board as a ladybug. And another reason I was kind of hoping that she was a butterfly was because I was like, okay, if she's a butterfly, my husband's a ladybug, and I'm just determined that my mom is a cricket. I was like, maybe I can finally talk my husband into being on an episode of the podcast. But Since my cousin's a ladybug and she has already agreed to be on here, I'm going to let my husband slide this time. And so she'll be on for the ladybug episode. And again, I'm just really hoping that my mom is a cricket so that she can be on the episode, even though she does not know it yet. But she will be recording when she comes up here at the end of this week. So, and then I'll do the episode about the bee, unless I can find someone else who's a bee who wants to do an episode with me. Butterfly, according to the Clutterbug philosophy, a butterfly is a very visual person. They fear the out of sight and out of mind philosophy. So they need to see their things out in the open. And the thought of organizing overwhelms them, and trying to get organized through traditional methods, it just doesn't work for them. And so the butterfly is also described as craving visual abundance and needing simple organizing systems. Next, we have the bee, aka me. The bee is a visual person, which I am such a visual person, y'all. If I don't see it, I have to see it. I need to be able to see it in order to actually be able to understand it and make sure that it's done correctly. And so the bee is usually always working on a project or two, and that's also me. I think I currently have about 5 or 6 projects going on, maybe somewhere in there. Yeah, that sounds about right. And so then the philosophy also says that the bee likes to see their important, frequently used items out and where they have easy access to them. Again, me. A bee is a bit of an organizing perfectionist. And I guess I should say we, like detailed organizing systems. Avid readers, which again, I am. And we come with a lot of stuff, which again, I do. And so, I mean, when I say I come with a lot of stuff, like you can just ask my husband. When we moved in together, I had so much stuff, and he was like, these can't just all be clothes. And I'm like, no, this is just stuff that I've collected over the years, or things that I need to work on certain things. And I mean, I think I've told y'all about my sewing machine that I had, and it just kept moving around with us. And he was like, you never use this stuff. My baton from when I was like 5 or 6 may have been in there. My ballet shoes may have been in some boxes. Maybe some stuffed animals, a couple of birthday cards, and some other stuff that I've just been carrying around with me forever. So enough about me, or should I say enough about the bees. I will definitely dive more into this in a later episode. Hopefully I can find someone else to do the bee though, because I feel like y'all have heard enough about me and my crazy organizational style. But one last thing about bees is that they crave visual abundance and they need a detailed organizing system. And so the next bug is the cricket. And crickets are traditional organizers. They prefer a detailed organizing system, but until they actually have the time to create the system, they'll pile their belongings up neatly, but in piles. And this is why I think that my mom is a cricket, because my mom has little piles like everywhere that she's always saying, oh, I need to put that up. Oh, I need to organize that. Oh, if you look over there in that stack, you'll find it there. I need to get around to putting those up. When I read that, I was like, yes, she has to be a cricket. And another thing to note about crickets is that they focus more on perfecting their organizing system than actually organizing anything, because they want their systems to be so detailed. And due to the fact that their systems are so detailed, the systems can either be really hard to actually set up, or once they're set up, they are really hard to maintain. And I can definitely attest to this, because growing up, I could never maintain, nor could I figure out my mom's organizing system. And she always told me that I was doing it wrong. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't figure it out. But crickets, they crave visual simplicity and they need a detailed organizing system. And last but not least, we have the ladybug. Now, I would just like to say that I despise ladybugs. Like, not the organizing category ladybug, but like actual live ladybugs. So when I was about 3 or 4, this ladybug decided that it was going to pee on my hand. And then I had orange pee on my hand, and I just didn't like them. I just disliked them. ever since then, because I just thought that that was so rude and disrespectful for that ladybug to pee on my hands. But I digress. So ladybugs, the organizers, are stressed out by general clutter and like to keep their living space clutter free. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And so in the guide that I'm referencing throughout the episode, Cass actually says, if you think of a real ladybug, they are pretty and shiny on the outside, but when they open their wings, well, it's a horror show under there. And, you know, I mean, especially since they just go around peeing on unsuspected 3-year-olds, I would definitely say that it's a horror show under there. But so ladybugs will keep the surface neat and clean, but they are also the reason that junk drawers were invented. Again, this is why I just knew that my husband was a ladybug, because I cannot count the number of times that he's tidied up and then I go to get a pen out of the drawer and I can barely open it due to all of his tidying, which, you know, all of the papers that he threw in there. And he doesn't just do it with one drawer. It's like multiple drawers. And I'm like, can we just designate one drawer as our junk drawer instead of multiple drawers as the junk drawer? And so ladybugs, they love to be clutter free, but they struggle with everyday organizing systems that take time and effort. And again, just something that I can really attest to, considering the fact that like the two people, my husband and my cousin, that I talk to on a daily basis, both fit the category of being a ladybug. And then ladybugs usually crave visual simplicity and need simple organizing systems. At the end of the guide, after she like explains all the different types of bugs and how they like to organize and like what works best for them, she talks about how she gives tips on how each of the bugs can work together. And so I was a little disappointed that there were no tips for how a bee and a ladybug can work together. But something that I did see in the tip section that really stuck out to me was a bee can become frustrated with a butterfly's lack of organization, while a butterfly can become overwhelmed with the bee's need for perfection. And so although my husband's style is a ladybug, like this still fits us, because I just have such a need and a desire for things to be organized and for them to be put back in like the exact spot. Because if you need something, I need to be able to tell you that you need to go on the shelf and look to the left and then move over 3 spaces and it's right there. Whereas my husband just needs to be like, hey, it's in the pantry. And so that just really it fits us to a T. So maybe he has a little bit of butterfly in him as well. But I just thought that the tips were really cool, just kind of showing how the two types can like get along and work together, because as they say, opposites attract. And I'm sure anybody that's married or dating or living with someone, or even, you know, if you have a roommate or you're living with your parents or anything, it doesn't have to be a spouse, just someone that you're living with or that you have to be in close quarters with a lot. It can be somebody at your job. Like, y'all probably have different organizing styles, and that can lead to like frustrations and clashing sometimes. So I thought the tips on how each style can work together was really cool, and I'm definitely going to dive more into that in another episode. I'm just really excited about doing these next 4 episodes on this, because I just think it's going to be really cool and really exciting just to find out the different things. And I just really love learning about this philosophy, because, you know, I just always thought there was one way to organize, and that was the way that I want it done. But what's organized to me may be a mess to someone else, or my thought processing for organizing may give someone else a headache. And then, you know, the same vice versa, like their thought process may give me a headache, or I may think that it's just a mess. So to learn about these different styles has really just made me look at organizing a completely different way. And I even understand like chaotic organization now, as my cousin calls it. So that's all for today, and thank you all as always for tuning in.
All right, y'all, so quick update. As I was editing this episode, my mom texted me and told me that she is a cricket. So yay me, I did get 2 out of 3 right, so I feel a little bit better about my prediction skills. I'm not going to go out and play the lottery or bet against any games or anything like that, but I'm a little bit less salty. So you all will definitely get to hear from my mom again on another episode. I'm so excited.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Please share the episode with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review. 5-star ratings and reviews helps the Modco podcast get on other shows' recommendation lists and helps new listeners to find me. Your 5-star review may be read on an episode. Also, if you would like to support this podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening. Please make sure to follow and rate the podcast whenever you listen.